So how have you
Nice.
been?
All right. Well, I'm glad to be with you today, John. Hey, thanks for having me on the show.
Let's start with the big life update. Congratulations on the new baby. How's the adjustment going in the Gill household?
It's good. It's good. As of right now, my watch says I got about 4 hours of broken sleep last night. So, I will say that's on the low end of how sleep's been going. It's probably one of the toughest nights. But thankfully, both babies. I mean, we got a 17 or 18 month old and now like a month old. They're both doing really well. Baby girl number two is awesome. Mom and her are both super healthy and strong, and we're getting through getting I guess out of the phase of like, okay, just feed her every 2 hours, keep her alive, keep her healthy, and now it's kind of settling down a little bit. So we're good. We're good over here.
That is good to hear. I have two kids as well, and they're an age difference, not as close as yours. They're a 16-year difference apart. So she's what 23, and my youngest is 7. And so, but seeing them work together as sisters is just amazing and beautiful moments, and made me proud to be a dad.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Parenting while training like an elite athlete sounds like its own obstacle course. How are you managing the balance between diapers, dumbbells, and discipline?
Whew. Well, I'm getting a lot of stuff at home now. So with I guess right before baby number two got here, a few months ago, we purchased our first home, which is amazing. So now we got the space to add like a home gym area. So more than any other time in my ninja career, I now have access to train a few feet from where my family sleeps. So it's great. So I'm able to go on baby duty while watching the 17-month-old while training still, which is great. I feel like I've had, the tools of the trade closer than ever before while preparing for, not just American Ninja Warrior, but all my ninja competitions, all the different leagues popping up, all the different competitions, going to Sweden in a few weeks for a big OCR event. So yeah, I'm very happy to be able to, I guess, be in the best type of training setup that I've ever been in.
Awesome. Your book, Kingdom Ninja, lays out a roadmap for physical, mental, and spiritual strength. If you could only preserve one of those pillars right now, body, mind, or spirit, what gets protected first?
Oh man, I feel like that's a tough question. I mean, by nature we are triune beings, so God, you can't really. You're affected by all three. I'll say like mentally, if you're unprotected, or if you're weak mentally, like your body's going to be affected, your spirit's going to be affected. I would say my first go to would just be mentally, just make sure that I'm focused and dialed in mentally, because everything else, it'll all be affected by everything regardless. But that's my first go to in terms of just my personal, experience and background and history.
You talk about habits and routines. What does your morning routine look like these days, and how has fatherhood changed it?
Morning routine.
Yes.
No, it's you know, um, wake up, splash some cold water on my face, get a little bit of food in my system. Usually my older daughter, the 18-month-old little Isla, usually she wakes up around the same time that I do. So then it's get her ready, get her changed, get her breakfast made and ready. And then just whatever chores didn't get checked off the evening before, gonna go start those. Usually unload the dishwasher, any laundry that's done. Like it's so funny just the amount of I mean, most of what I do is working from home. So when I'm home, there's just anything that needs to be done gets done. And so the routine, it starts with just getting up, getting focused, doing what I need to do, praying over my family, my day, going over my to-do list of just any work stuff that I need to do, and then enjoying my quiet time while me and my daughter are eating.
Thinking of routines, I'm sure you get this a lot. What is your hair care routine?
I disappoint a lot of women on a regular basis when I tell them that my hair is almost completely well, not only natural for one thing, but like my routine is like 30 seconds or less. Literally get out of the shower, squeeze dry it, and then a tiny bit of what is it? Whatever hair mousse my wife buys me at the time. I feel like she tries new things every few months. It used to be whatever my sisters would buy. I got three sisters. And then when I got married, it's like, okay, whatever my wife buys, because we have similar hair, is what I use. So it takes about 30 seconds. I'll squeeze dry my hair and then just put a little bit of, whatever my wife has on the countertop, and that's it. And I upset a lot of women because it's very, very, a lazy way of doing it, but it works out well for me.
I guess the simpler the better.
Yeah,
There's
for real.
there's a beautiful balance in your book between practical advice and deeper purpose. When you wrote it, who did you imagine was reading it, and who did you need to reach?
Yeah. Oh man. When I wrote the book, I mean the words literally just leapt onto the page. I imagined writing it to both a younger version of myself and what I needed to hear, or that some of the things that I did hear from mentors or leaders in my life, but also, I mean, in a lot of ways to the future me in terms of what I need to keep as the number one priorities of my life, in spite of the mounting distractions that this world has to offer. But I wanted to make sure that as an author, that it would resonate with audiences both young and old, as well as audience that are both athletes who love, the sport of ninja, but also fans who just love the show ninja and follow me and my life and story. So I tried to make it as wide of a range as possible, and I am so proud of how the final products turned out, and I could not be more happy with it. And I think I've only had positive feedback from it, so very grateful for it all.
Thinking of American Ninja Warrior, how did you get involved back in the very beginning in the ninja community?
Oh man. So 2013. Yeah, 2013 was when I first stepped foot into Iron Sports Ninja Gym here in Houston, Texas. And I went at the invitation of a friend because I needed a job. And long story short, I miraculously got a job coaching there, and then thought, okay, well, if I'm gonna coach here and start training for this ninja thing, maybe I'll get on this TV show. And if I do, I'm gonna do this with purpose, with intentionality, and like this will be the start of a new adventure. And it took a while, it took a few years after that before I finally got to compete on my first season, season 7 back in 2015. But boy, was it worth it. And this has become, the focal point of my life, at least in this season of my life. And it's just been awesome how I got into it. The community was so welcoming. And before I began competing on the show, there were still local competitions, both in Houston and other parts of the country that I would go to and compete in, before I finally got on the TV show a few years after that in 2015.
Awesome. And you've hit a lot of milestones. Most recently, you hit your 30th buzzer, an insane milestone. What does that moment mean to you now compared to your very first buzzer?
Oh man, I never really had a goal of like counting buzzers. I mean, honestly, it was each year and each season was kind of with a grain of salt. Like, okay, this could be my last, whether I don't get a call back the next year, or maybe an injury takes me out, or just that my season of life changes and I go a completely different direction. So I was never really counting buzzers. And then this season in qualifiers, they said in interviews, they said, "Hey, guess what? You currently have our second most buzzers of any ninja competitor in all of history, and you just hit your 30th one." So it was super cool to hear news like that. I mean, again, I never really counted them myself, but going back now and reliving them, revisiting them, watching old footage, and just seeing just the numbers go up from the first time I hit a course back on the Houston qualifiers in season 7 to now here, gosh, like a decade later, is really exciting. And honestly, regardless of how much older I get or how much younger the athletes get, as fellow competitors, I still feel like I've got a lot of buzzers left in me. So I'm gonna go the distance and hit many more in my future.
That is good to hear. Now make a great video montage, a great YouTube video of buzzer one to 30 buzzers now. That'd be cool to see. With the new head-to-head format and Vegas-based qualifiers, season 17 changed the game. Did it shift your training strategy at all?
Ooh, with more of the racing format. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, because a lot of strategy goes into play when it comes to racing because you have to be risky. You're going to, go for broke, and it's not a matter of okay, just are you strong enough to finish the course? Now it's a matter of are you strong enough to finish the course faster than your elite opponent? And so there's a lot more risk that goes into it now. And I've never been a very risky athlete. I know my strengths. I know that I'm capable of finishing almost any course that's ever, put in front of me. But now the training that's going into this new format for season 17 and future seasons is one of okay, you can finish each course in front of you. You're strong enough to do that. Now, what's the minimum number of backswings you can take? What's the most efficient way, even if it's reckless, to get through each of these subsequent obstacles? And so there's a lot more in one sense, there's a lot more play that goes into it because it becomes a game of like, okay, how reckless and wild and crazy can we get on these courses? But in another sense of I feel like the older I get as a person and as an athlete, it almost goes against what my nature otherwise would be, which is just you don't have to be the fastest, you just have to finish the course. So that's tough. That's tough for me as an athlete, but I'm as long as I realize that I can fight against it and do what needs to be done in the heat of the moment during these competitions. So you've seen a bunch of races this current season 17, which was wild. And I won't spoil it for those who haven't seen it because it just came out. But I think you're going to see some strategies improve in both myself and others as we move forward with this new format in future seasons.
Looking forward to it. When the cameras aren't rolling, what part of ninja training is most misunderstood by the public?
Oh, what part of ninja training is misunderstood by the public? I think just how many hours go into it. I mean, ninja's not yet fully a recognized sport. Now, granted, with that said, it is going to be in the 2028 Olympic Games as part of the modern pentathlon. So, running, swimming, sharpshooting, fencing, and now a 100-meter Ninja Warrior course, which is awesome. But there aren't full-time sponsorships. There aren't professional paid, athletes in this sport. And yet, in order to be the best, those of us that, are at that top echelon as a ninja athlete, we put in hours every single day uh, to be the best, to do what others aren't able to last longer on these courses, to go faster on these courses, to be more efficient and skilled and technical on these obstacles. And a lot of people don't realize that. They'll watch the TV show and think, oh, that's really fun. I could do that. And not that they can't try because it's a reality television show. As long as you've got an interesting story and can do some level of obstacles or have some base level of athleticism, you could get selected very, very easily. But to do well and to hit buzzers and to make those top few spots, those are some of the highest level athletes I've ever met, and just bar none, hands down, just because of the strength, the skill, the speed, the endurance, the upper body, the lower body, all of that goes into the sport of ninja. It makes it one of the physically most demanding obstacles or sports I've ever been involved in, and people don't realize just how difficult of a sport it is until you actually try it either on the show or in a ninja gym. So I think that would be the biggest thing that I see people unaware of when it comes to the show and the athletes that compete.
When I visited the ninja competition in Greensboro, I did see a young crowd there competing. How often are injuries in the sport?
Oh, well, like any sport, Johnny, there are always going to be injuries, and like any sport, you can usually tell what types of injuries are going to happen based on the sport. So soccer, you're going to get like lower body injuries, legs, knees, ankles, things like that. um, you know, uh, what is it like football? You're gonna get concussions and things like that, or just like broken bones. When it comes to ninja, it's primarily shoulders or like wrists or fingers, just because it's so dynamic, so high impact on the upper body. And we're currently still in the Wild West in terms of uh, getting a level of like standardization amongst the sports and amongst the gyms across the US that host these competitions and are part of these leagues. So everything from like mat placements to level of thickness on mats and how high you put some of the obstacles and the materials that you use. There's still not 100% what is it like standardization across the board. So when it comes to injuries, I mean it's usually something with shoulders or fingers. Now, I'll say that a lot of it is self-caused. We train more than we should. We overtrain, and similar to like rock climbing, if you put too much stress and harsh impact on your tendons as a rock climber, that's when you're going to get tendon injuries. And it's not unlike, Ninja Warrior, too many big laches where you jump from one, obstacle to another, 6 to 8 to 12, 15 or more feet catching onto a bar, that's a lot of impact on your fingers, your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders. And oftentimes, the number one injury that ninja athletes get is just overtraining and then causing one of those spots, fingers, wrists, elbows, or shoulders, to get injured, get a tear or a rip or pull or strain. Thankfully, though, one of the biggest things that us as coaches are advocating for is just learning to listen to your body, even as a young, as a child athlete. If you're starting to feel, tight or sore or sensitive, don't say, oh, just one more. No, no, listen to your body. With Ninja, if you start to feel any sort of fatigue or overly sore in one area, you can go train lower body, go train the warped wall, train legs, train balance, do something else. Do hand-eye coordination so that when you're flying through the air, it's easier to grab onto the things. There's ways to work on finding a balance and preventing injuries from happening. But it is something that is still being worked on in the sport. And like any other sport, there will always be injuries and certain types of injuries that are prone in that space. So that's what it's like in the world of ninja.
You've competed for years with immense focus. How have you handled the inevitable pressure to do something new or stay relevant in such a fast-paced world?
Whew. I don't know about, staying relevant has never really been a huge focus in my life. I mean, my goal is to continue to work hard, do my best, and trust the Lord with the rest. And relevancy or being invited back or other competitions, those seem to be byproducts of just chasing after the dreams and the goals and desires that are on my heart in terms of being the strongest athlete possible. I've loved the adventures that I've gone on through the world and the sport of ninja. I mean, I never would have believed you if you would have told me 10 years ago where my first season on the show would lead me. I mean, two-time runner-up, one-time champion, I've gone all over the world for various competitions and events and hit numerous buzzers, more than 30 if you count, all the different events and trips that I've gone on for the sport of ninja. It has taken my life on a roller coaster of adventures, ones that I get to share with my whole family, my wife and my daughter and my second daughter about to start traveling along with the rest of us as a family everywhere that I go. And it's such a cool um, life and livelihood that I've been able to have. And the focus has always been one of not perfection, but doing the very best that I'm able to. I mean, as a man of faith, going by the Kingdom Ninja, I mean, I'm an outspoken Christian, and my job is to do everything that I can so that the Lord can do the things that I can't, right? To work hard, do my best, and trust that the Lord will put His super on my natural. But to never just sit on my hands and say, I expect good things. I expect good things. Like God make something good happen in my life. No, no, no. I'm gonna work hard, and I very much believe that as an athlete or an entrepreneur or just any person, there's a lot riding on our participation, our active participation in making life happen that it requires focus. But if we just sit and do nothing, then nothing's gonna happen. I mean, there's a quote that I enjoy which says, "Nothing changes if nothing changes." Like you have to make change and you have to stay focused when it comes to um, making a plan and then making realistic steps to get to those goals. And so for me, that's been a huge part of my life over these last realistically 15 years, but 10 in the sport of ninja, having these goals and having the focus to do what it takes and just build these routines and habits into my daily lifestyle and routine, regardless of how mundane it might feel at times. I don't listen to my feelings. I listen to the plan that I've laid before me. And I'm seeing some really good results in my own life personally with this type of mindset, in spite of the many setbacks and failures that I have and we all will face.
You've gone, think about your goals and vision with the Olympics. You've gone public about your dream to represent in the 2028 Olympics. What sparked that fire and how serious are the steps you're taking?
Oh man, I mean the fire's always been there just as an athlete, especially one that is so passionate about the sport that I'm involved in, this obstacle course racing and Ninja Warrior. So the passion is there. I mean, I want to compete on the highest levels in, that are available and the new ones that become available as the sport continues to grow globally. So the steps that I'm taking now are training daily, regularly, making sure that I'm ready and prepared. Now, the caveat with its current inclusion in the 2028 Olympic Games is that instead of it being a standalone sport like what I'm used to as just a single 100-meter ninja course, like what you see on television, it's going to be a part of a modern pentathlon. So 5 disciplines total. So if I were to, theoretically compete in 2028 as an athlete, I would have to run, swim, sharpshoot, fence, and do a 100-meter Ninja Warrior course. And the only way that I see that happening for me in my life as a 32-year-old married man with 2 kids, who's an entrepreneur working, just of my own accord and just doing contract work. The only way that happens for me is if I have something like a sponsor come up and say, "Hey, we'll cover the cost for you to become proficient in these other 4 areas, these other 4 disciplines." I mean, we'll whatever sponsorships cover. You don't have to pay bills. We'll get that taken care of. We just need you training. We'll provide the coaches. We'll provide the training facilities. Your goal is to be ready, willing, and available to do it. That's the only way I would see myself personally competing, at least in the modern pentathlon. The goal is to get the sports set up as its own individual thing in the Olympics, and if that happens, cool. All I have to do is ninja. That's what I'm a professional at, anyways. But what is another opportunity or another option I think as a realistic option for myself in 2028 is if I continue as a ninja coach because I've been coaching longer than I've been competing on American Ninja. We're about 13 years now in the world of ninja. I could very well see myself getting invited to coach some of these modern pentathlons or pentathlon athletes who are simply learning to replace equestrian horseback riding now with a 100-meter, ninja course. So there's already a whole group of athletes that are, modern pentathlon athletes or modern pentathletes. They're now having to learn a whole new individual sport, and I could very easily step in and say, okay, I'm a pro at this. Let me teach you this. And I see that as an option too, at least during this interim period while I wait for either a full-time sponsorship opportunity or for the Olympics to allow solely, ninja or obstacle racing is what they're calling it. So that's where my thoughts are and what I see the vision for the my participation, however it would be, in the upcoming Olympic Games.
I can definitely see your dream happening there. What is the Olympic version of you hitting the buzzer? What is your gold medal moment?
Oh man, well, the gold medal moment would be a gold medal, my friend. It would be hitting buzzers at the end of those courses, or I guess if it's a modern pentathlon, finishing each of the milestone legs of the race and doing it faster than anybody else, doing it to the best of my ability. Obviously, putting in the hard work, dedication, the hours that go into it, but then coming out on top and winning a gold medal or at least podium on a global stage like that. I mean, there'd be no higher honor than that as an athlete in any sport than to say, I stepped onto the Olympic stage and took a medal, took a gold medal home. And I mean, I see the vision in my head. I've got it before me. Now it's literally just a matter of timing and execution, just to be ready if and when those moments present themselves. And I fully believe that it is, there is a world where that happens. And my goal until, you know, told otherwise or shown otherwise, that's the one that I'm fighting for.
Talking faith, legacy, and the next generation of ninjas, you've never shied away from talking about your faith. How does being a dad now deepen or shift that relationship with your spiritual life?
Oh man, I mean, you talk about legacy. There is no greater legacy than the one that we leave our children. I mean, they become how we're remembered by. And in the sport of ninja, I've already got a pretty fantastic resume and legacy that I will eventually leave behind whenever I stop competing somewhere, some far, off future down the road. But to have children. And whether they become ninja athletes or not, they are my most prized legacy now. I mean, I want to be remembered through the things that I teach them. I mean, even as an 18-month-old, my oldest, Isla Rose, I'm watching the wheels spinning behind her eyes every single day when we interact together, just how sharp she is, how much she remembers, and how quickly she learns things. And I think to myself on a daily basis, I and my wife, we're literally shaping her worldview, how she is going to interpret the world around her. And these first 4 or 5 years of their lives are the most formulative in all of their life. And so I'm making the most to the best of my abilities each day to build the type of relationships with my children that will last a lifetime. We won't have any sort of estrangements in our lives. Like, I'm not worried about that at all. We are going to be the most tight-knit family. And my goal, because there's all these, I mean, gosh, we're inundated with different, parenting practices. Like, my goal isn't to be their friend, but to be their role model, to be their guiding light, to be their parent and teach them about the world that they live in, both the good and exciting things, but also the difficult and dark things that are in this world. And I have the opportunity as a parent to impart wisdom, understanding, intelligence to them. And so it's just I'm thinking a lot about legacy, both as an athlete, but mostly as a parent, and realizing that I don't care, the direction that my children's lives go in terms of, following my footsteps as an athlete or not. What I care about is that they're prepared to the best of my and my wife's abilities to handle what this world is going to throw at them, because otherwise they're just going to be another statistic of kids that are shocked and blown away or overwhelmed by how tough life can get, how many different types of obstacles are going to be thrown their way physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And I'm working very hard to make sure that my family doesn't fall prey in all of those ways. Sure, life's going to be hard, right? I'm not going to doubt or question that, but we're going to do it as a family. And the legacy that I live or leave is going to be through my family first and foremost.
That's an excellent legacy to have. When young fans meet you, especially those who've read your book or seen you compete, what do you hope sticks with them the most?
Oh man, I meet fans every single day, every day that I go out in public at least, and it's such an honor and such a privilege to have someone come up. Well, I mean, young or old, boys or girls, they'll come up and say, "Oh my gosh, you're that guy from that show. We love watching you." Or oftentimes, "You're Daniel Gil, the Kingdom Ninja," and it gives me this moment to, whether it's make someone's day or oftentimes like give them a milestone memory that they will never forget for the rest of their lives. And I say that because I have never forgotten any time that I've met a quote unquote celebrity that I've seen on TV or listened to their music or watched their movies or whatever. And to have that opportunity is sobering, and it's so special for me because whether it's a long, difficult, or frustrating day for me, whenever those opportunities come about, usually I'm able to at least, if nothing more, flip the switch or nothing else, I can flip the switch and say, okay, I don't care how I feel right now. I don't care how late it is or how tired I am. Like, here's a moment I get to share with a fan and encourage them, support them, meet them where they're at. Because literally, I mean, every single one of us is going through some sort of battle or facing some different type of obstacles. And so I want to be kind. I want to be there, and I want to give them a positive interaction with me, especially because I'm not only representing a TV show, American Ninja Warrior, but as the Kingdom Ninja, I'm representing, what it looks like to actually be a real Christian. And that means a lot to me. I'm not going to be hypocritical in a sense of like, I want to be genuine and sincere in every interaction that I have every single day. So, I mean, fans might see that I'm tired, but I also feed off the energy of others, and I love meeting new people. So, regardless of if it's, maybe I'm at an event and there's like 100 people in line, the very last person in line, I try to still make their day and say, "Hey, thank you for your patience. Thank you for putting in the time. Like, here's your reward. How can I help you? What do you want signed? Like, you want to get pictures, photos, autographs? Like, I try very hard to go out of my way to make people feel as special as I do every time that I step up on that stage and platform and realize out of tens of thousands of people who apply for this television show every season, I'm one of the few that I've been accepted on every season that I've applied, since season 7, when I first got on the show. And so I want to give that joy in whatever way that I can to those that see me on a regular basis, or meet me and interact with me. So it's awesome.
Being a certified mental wellness coach, how does that shape the way you approach not just training, but relationships and resilience?
Oh man. So that was a really cool certification that I did recently where, I said I've gotten more and more opportunities and events and invitations to do large events, whether schools, fundraisers, different summer camps or conferences, church events, all of these things. And I owe it to, you know, event coordinators who bring me out, but also to the audiences that I'm speaking to be as skilled, as prepared as possible to impart wisdom, facts, truth, knowledge that benefits people, that encourages and inspires, but also brings substance to them. And so I became a mental wellness coach because of a need that I saw in young people. Where when you look at schools these days, you look at just young people these days facing all the struggles with online social media, with bullying, with access to anything that they could find. I mean, addictions of all kinds, getting at a younger and a younger age. And so I took the time to educate myself in this area because I want to provide content and resources to encourage others. So this mental wellness course that I went through, a lot of it honestly went or had to do with just the how gut health, the foods that we put into our bodies, affect our moods and how we feel and how we sleep, which aids in recovery, aids in mental clarity and brain fog, all of these things. And just I talk about it in my book too. Like, when it comes to the foods that we eat, it's like you don't have to be, a stickler. You don't have to be super crazy about it, but just realize like every food or everything that you're putting into your body, like it has a source and it has a purpose. So I tell young people, like, your body runs on fuel. It's the greatest machine ever. But depending on the type of fuel that you put in your body will determine how well it runs or how long it lasts. And when you put it in terms like that, it makes you want to think twice about what it is you're putting into your body without having to, be fearful of it. You realize, well, hey, if I choose to replace this with that, then I'm going to feel better. I'll look better. I'll perform better. And even if I'm not an athlete, everybody wants to feel better and to look better and to be more capable of just living life well. And so this mental wellness certification, in addition to just the foods that we put in, was just a lot of lifestyle. I mean, everything from realizing that your mental health has so much to do with just your daily routines. Sunlight. People don't realize the benefits of sunlight, walking outside barefoot, grounding, just connecting with the earth, not in a weird way, but literally the earth has a magnetic feature to it, and our bodies are affected by that. So So much goes into it. I mean, the amount of rest that we allow or prioritize will affect our bodies the next days. And so there's so much that goes into it. And I am so grateful for having the presence of mind to want to learn more, to grow more, because I realize it's not just for my own benefit, but again, for the benefits of those that I interact with on a daily basis. So it was such a cool program that I got to do, and I'm keeping up with it and making sure that, new information, new research, new studies, like it's a growing field of research when it comes to mental health and wellness, and I want and will stay connected with it so that I can help a generation that is hurting, that are dealing with issues that I did not have to deal with 15, 20 years ago, but I see a need. And with this platform that I've been given through this television show and reaching millions of people through the show, but even just, tens of thousands on my other platforms, I owe it to them, especially with who I am and who I represent, to make as much and as good of an impact as I can and as many people that I'm able to. So hope that is a long-winded answer to your question.
Loved it. Thank you very much. Very inspirational. Wrapping up, what is one thing that most people get wrong about you? Something that just they don't expect about Daniel Gil.
Hmm. That's a good question. I One thing that I hear often is people are very surprised at how genuine I am, how sincere I am in terms of like our interactions together. I mean, people are like, "Oh wow, like you're our favorite ninja on the show, but you're the exact same in person." Like we thought it was just like this character that you portray on this television show. You're always smiling, you always have something good to say, even when you lose $1 million, not once but twice on the TV show, like we could see you were frustrated, but you still had a smile. You still lifted up your hands and gave God glory. And like we thought it was just a show, like a facade, because you are on this television show. But meeting you in person, Daniel, like you're the real deal. You're genuine and authentic. And that's probably the greatest compliment that I receive on a regular basis. Because since my teenage years, especially when I went all in with my faith, my personal walk with the Lord, I said, God, I'm not going to be a Wednesday, Sunday, Easter, Christmas type of Christian. Like this is who I am all day, every day. And I said, in the same, line of reasoning, I'm going to be the same person everywhere that I go, in everything that I do. And there might be different hats of responsibilities that I have in life, but I'm going to be the exact same person. I promise I'll never change. And a good friend of mine, Jake Murray, competed for many, many years on American Ninja Warrior. He said something years ago that I never forgot. He said, I want to be a 30 plus year old Jake Murray that 5-year-old Jake Murray is proud of. And he said, I'm never going to change. I'm always going to be the same person. And I was like, man, I'm gonna live my life like that too. I'm gonna be the same person always. I'm gonna be authentic. I'm gonna be real. And like I'm a jokester. I love to poke fun and make jokes. So people are like, "Oh wow, yeah, you joke more than I thought." I'm like, "Okay, cool, that's fine." Like I love to laugh. I love to enjoy life, and I'll go on adventures, and I'll push people to go on adventures with me. And when it comes to having fun. But that's probably the compliment that I hear the most in terms of how surprising people are about just interacting with me, is just how sincere and how real I am. And I do try with great care to be the exact same person everywhere, but it's still just it never gets old hearing how happy it makes people to realize that I'm not some holier than thou, or special. Not that I'm any sort of celebrity, because you compare me to any real celebrity, I'm nothing. But for those that watch the show and have seen me compete over the years, I've done really well, and I'm a decent, pretty big deal in the sport of ninja. But I'm real, raw, authentic, and down to earth, and like I can have a real conversation with people, and I love to do that on a daily basis. So that's what I find most, refreshing when people meet me for the first time.
You mentioned in your book diet being very important. Do you have a guilty pleasure that you like pepperoni pizza or just every once in a while have a chocolate cake?
Oh, I love a good pizza. I one of my fun things that I'll do is I'll try various brands of pizzas and compare them. So, I mean, right now at the top of my list, right, really like a barbecue chicken pizza. Oh, so good. So,
Yum.
California Pizza Kitchen used to be the top spot, which you could get at local grocery stores or the actual restaurant. But then I tried, who was it? Whole Foods has a barbecue chicken pizza, fantastic. And then just the other day, I found that Sprouts Farmers Markets, another grocery store chain, has their own barbecue chicken pizza, and I'm just in heaven. I love pizza. Don't eat it every day. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Um, Additionally, I've got a big sweet tooth, and I love chocolate, and I love ice cream. Again, you get to a point in life where you realize that moderation is of greater essence than living a life of, dictated. Um, uh, Diet. For me, I diets have expiration dates on them. I don't ever diet really, because to say that you diet means that you're dieting for, a an outcome. And then when you hit that outcome or reach that goal weight, like you're done, you don't diet anymore. That's, to me, it's lifestyle. My lifestyle eating habits are 80% super clean. I mean, healthy, raw, real, I know where the food comes from. I know what's in the food. There's nothing in it that I don't want in it. That's my regular, my normal. But then, there's 20%, whether it's weekends or just special events. Like I've always found it really hard, but also kind of frustrating or annoying when someone's like, "No, I will never, ever, ever put anything bad." I'm like, guys, you're gonna put something bad in your body, whether it's food or otherwise, just with the world that we live in. So without going on that soapbox, I'm like, no, moderation's key. Like I'll have ice cream, I'll have cake, I'll have pizza. It's not going to be my daily go-to, but I'm not going to live a life that prevents me from enjoying some of the fun or tasty treats that this world has to offer. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. I tell people I'd rather be a compete as a happy athlete than a deprived or starving athlete, because happy people outperform miserable people every single day of the week. So, as an athlete or not, my goal is to be joy filled in what I do and how I live my life. And so that's my fun answer on that.
Outstanding. Last question for you. The Daniel Gil of 10 years ago, season seven, could you see you now, husband, father, author, 30 buzzer ninja, Olympic hopeful? What would he say to you?
Oh
What would you
man,
say to him?
what would I say? Man, I hope that he would say to me that he's proud of me, because I've lived my life trying to uh, you know, make the younger Daniel proud, that I would never give up, never give in. I mean, as a kid, I promised myself and I promised the Lord that I would never lose my childlike sense of faith or my childlike sense of wonder in this world, in spite of the older I get, realizing how dark and how depraved and how crazy this world is in certain parts, right? If you look for it, you'll find it. But I've always lived a life full of wonder and joy and just natural, genuine love for life. So looking back, though, I would tell my younger self, like, get back up as quickly as you can, because you will get knocked down many times in many different ways, in unexpected ways. And as long as you know that, you can get up quicker and more easily. I would tell them, like, you will not be in control of everything that happens to you, but you will be 100% in control of how you respond, how you react, what you do, how long you stay down. Guess what? You're going to get knocked down in life. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even as a Christian, Jesus said, in this world you will have troubles, you will have trials and tribulations, but to take heart, because he's overcome. And so I would tell them, like, I would tell myself, don't be shocked when you fall or fail. Get up quickly, learn from it, grow from it. Don't repeat the same mistakes. I'm okay with making mistakes now. The older I get, the more I realize mistakes are a part of life and it's okay to make mistakes. I'm not okay with repeating them. So I'll take the time to analyze it, to go back, to think about it instead of just, oh, I made a mistake. I'll never relive that experience. That's an immature way of thinking. That's how I used to be. Now I go back, I process it. I say, okay, what did I do? If anything, maybe it was something that was done to me or something that I had no control in the matter. I'll just say, what happened? How could I, eliminate this happening again? And when you do that, you save yourself so much trouble, so much heartache, and so much wasted time, energy, and effort. And so I would tell my younger self, get up. That's what I tell young people all the time. Get up, move on. You're going to face obstacles, physical obstacles, emotional obstacles, mental obstacles. You're going to face spiritual obstacles, and that's fine. It's part of life. It's part of the world that we live in. But get up. Get up. And the quicker you get up, the better off you'll be. And the more people that see you get up, the more people that are going to be encouraged and inspired by your life, because every single one of us has people that are looking at our lives, looking to our lives. You don't have to have millions of followers on social media to realize that you have influence in other people's lives, your family, your coworkers, your schoolmates, those that you interact with on a regular basis. And so live life with purpose, live it intentionally. And you don't have to live it, worried or concerned that people are looking at your life, but you have the opportunity to be the dominant influence, and one that says, okay, come hell, come high water, like I'm gonna be the person that I'm living, striving to be, and I'm going to raise as many people up with me as I can. Like I tell people, and I would tell younger me, like, hey, friends are like elevators. They're going to take you one of two directions, either up or down. So make sure that you surround yourself with friends that lift you up, and make sure that you are a friend that lifts others up. Doesn't mean you're a people pleaser. Doesn't mean that you're a yes man. You can speak the truth in love, but make sure that you and others around you have similar focus, have similar, shared beliefs, that you can encourage each other. And you might have to walk away from friendships. You might have to walk away from business deals, young Daniel. And you're gonna wish that you did in some regards, in some cases. But get up, move forward, learn and grow, and overcome. That's what I tell them. It's what I tell people all the time.
Thank you very much. How can fans and the Olympic sponsors contact and connect with you?
Oh man, anywhere on social media, I'm on it all. I try to check more regularly. I've never been a huge social media guy. You can just see the damage that it does to so many people. I mean, scrolling for hours every day, and I'm guilty of it too, which is why I'm an advocate against it. But I'm on there still. I mean, there's a lot of good that comes from it. I love following people that I admire, look up to, or want to learn from. So I'm on all socials, whether Facebook, Instagram. On LinkedIn, trying to put more information on LinkedIn as well. We've got two different websites. I've got, thekingdomninja.com, which is, all things ninja in my life. My wife and I also have a 501(c)(3) nonprofit that we started. So you could go to danielgilministries.com as well. So you can reach out on any of these platforms, any of my emails, which is like either booking Daniel Gil at Gmail, which if you got an event inquiry or things like that, or any of my socials have any number of ways to reach me. My job is just part of my job on a daily basis is just to check all the different inboxes and see what's going on. And I do my best to try to respond to everyone, but in the niche world of ninja, it can be difficult when an influx of inquiries come in, just because the season is very popular right now. But yeah, anywhere people want to look for me, it's at Kingdom Ninjas. A lot of my handles are just Daniel Gill. Find me on any of those platforms, and I love what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to create and produce content and resources that encourage, inspire, and uplift, whether it's authoring more books or continuing to travel and do workshops and clinics at ninja gyms across the US, or speaking engagements like never before, stepping into a world of just joy. Like I love holding a microphone in my hand and encouraging people, because we need to be people that are full of courage. But the only way we're going to be full of courage is if we are encouraged. So whether it's school assemblies, conferences, events, camps, like I'm doing that now more than ever before, and I love it. I come alive in those types of environments, and have a lot of great content to share with others. Everything from anti-bullying to hard work, motivation, not giving up, getting back up. So people can find me anywhere that I'm at, on social or otherwise.
That is good. Thank you, Daniel, for being such a positive influence.
Appreciate it, Johnny. Thank you for the time and letting me share on your show today.